like I'm known to keep it real. I ain't worried about your feelings when I'm in the field. They be watching what I do from my highlight reel. I'm just running to the paper, fuck how you feel. If you looking for the truth, then I'm the real deal. If you looking for the truth, then I'm the real deal. Shout out to the crew and they get real, real. I'm in with the crew, nigga, real.
What is up, everybody? It's the Real Deal League podcast, week numero tres.
What's
Week
going on?
3. What's up, fellas?
Chilling.
It's moving too fast. I need football to slow down. It's already week 3.
Scary. Some people are living life starting 2-0. Others are miserable starting 0-2. How are you guys doing in your leagues?
I'm in 8 of them. Again, I'll say that every week, every time you ask the question, because it's just so many damn leagues. But for the most part, I'm 0-2 in 2 of them, and everywhere else we're staying afloat, 1-1, 2-0. So I'm keeping it moving.
That's good. That's good.
I'm 2-1, 2-0 in one league, and then 1-1 in the rest.
1-1 in the rest.
Oh, and I'm 0-2 in that best ball. The best ball is just horrible.
That's new for me. I didn't understand it at first, but
I had so many people messaging me like, "Wait, why is Bryce Young in over Jalen Hurts? I would never do that." And I'm like, "Dude, let's get through the week."
Yeah, it's a little confusing because how I thought the format was the app sets up your best lineup and then that's it. I didn't know that at the end of the week it picks the best players. Which is pretty cool. That makes more sense. And speaking about best players, speaking about football, getting back to football. How'd you like the Thursday night game, fellas?
As someone with a few 49ers, I enjoyed it. I have Brock Purdy in a couple leagues, and I'll take the 20-point game from him. 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wasn't as effective as a runner as, he's capable of being, but he didn't really need to. I mean, the screen game was working all night for Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. And then on the Giants side, I mean, just brutal outing from everybody. I mean, there's no Giant that you can start with reason outside of Saquon, who you're not going to have for 4 to 6 weeks. So the Giants, ugly from them, nothing inspiring out of that performance at all. And San Fran without Brandon Ayuk didn't miss a beat.
And literally, if your name's Darren Waller, you're literally getting the ball without Saquon there. It's like, and he didn't even do much.
And he didn't do anything
outside of that. But still, it was just throwing that ball.
He did lead the team in targets.
All game. Yeah. Every time I look, it was the ball's being thrown to Waller. And I'm just like, that's how you guys are really going to win the game this way.
Yeah. 3 catches for 20 yards. He did see the 7 targets, like we said. And tight end is such a volatile position that you're probably starting Darren Waller every week anyway if you drafted him. But, I mean, is there any difference between what he's doing and what a guy like Luke Musgrave or Sam Laporta is doing? So it's just you don't feel vindicated yet in where you drafted Darren Waller with the expectation that he's going to be the number 1 option in New York outside of Saquon, and that he was a beast a couple years ago with Derek Carr and the Raiders. It's not translating yet. And I don't really see the light at the end of the tunnel because Brian Daboll isn't someone that's known for giving his tight ends quality volume in his offenses. Dawson Knox was always okay, but he's never had a guy as skilled as Darren Waller, but you can just tell the offense is not meant to go through a tight end over there in New York, especially with Brian Daboll's offense. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think about the Giants other than you can't start any one of them with reason right now.
The Giants right now is as is. They're like a Craigslist ad. You bought it as is.
Yeah.
Paying all that money.
Yeah, and it's definitely tough because looking at some of the players that gave you a little bit of love last week, like Daniel Jones, and you thought maybe, okay, after this comeback, he's going to do me well. And then you went ahead and started him this week. Gave you a big donut in fantasy sense. I mean, he came out, I think, only 137 yards, interception, and it's just bad. It's just bad for a quarterback. Your quarterback should at least a bad showing from your quarterbacks is like 10, 12 points. I'll consider that bad, but okay, whatever. Yeah. He gave me 10, 12 points, but only under 5 points is not good, man.
I'll be honest with you. Like, last week was like a trap game. Trap game, but I didn't start him because I knew it. And I said it last week. I was like, yeah, you take him in this Arizona game. But after that, I'm starting Jordan Love.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people whose strategy was kind of sit and wait on quarterback, and they ended up with him, and or him being Daniel Jones. Let's be specific,
Yeah,
and
and I
that
was
was
one of them.
you were one, and
Mhm.
it's not paying off right now. I can't
Not
really
at all.
foresee it getting any better unless it's matchup dependent, like it was with Arizona. But
Mhm.
who wants to do that without a solid number 2 option? Like I know one of your situations in the league is I think you have Daniel Jones and Jordan Love. I'd
Yeah.
probably just be rolling with Jordan Love unless the Daniel Jones matchup is too sweet like Arizona. But how many games do you have like that on your schedule?
That not many,
Yeah.
because like that's the thing. That's why the other day I was looking and I'm like, I think I just want to drop him because it's like, what am I gonna use him for? Even if you try to save him, let's say you try to save him for your playoff run,
Mm,
he got to play Philly twice
yeah.
on
You
the
got to play Dallas
back side
again.
of the season.
Hmm.
Yeah, but just those the last 5 games.
Okay. Okay.
They come off the bye. They come off the bye on the 13th. The week 14th, they got Green Bay, New Orleans, Philly, Rams, Philly.
Hmm.
And
Brutal.
I'm to a point where do I really want to play him?
Hmm.
You got Jets. Let's just look at his next 4 games. They got Seattle, Miami, Buffalo, Washington, New York Jets. Sorry,
Can't wait
but
to
yeah,
play
New
him.
York Jets. Yeah.
Gotta be gifting the defense a lot.
Oh my God.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, like you guys brought up, since we're going over that game, there's not much value in that Giants team. I don't see any value, and even when Saquon's there, it's tough because there's not a lot of value there. I don't see a lot of fantasy impact. Maybe you'll get a game or two here, like when Daniel Jones or any quarterback plays Arizona. You'll see some value in teams like that, but it's nothing to be excited about. If you need to clear up space and you want to drop them and you have a decent second, I don't see anything wrong with that because even on my bye week, I don't even know if I want to play Daniel Jones right now. Like you said, yeah, last week was a trap game. It was a good matchup for him, and he almost blew it too. He had to come back at the
Yeah.
end.
Mm-hmm.
So getting away from the graveyard that is the Giants' fantasy value right now. On the other end, we have a lot of value. I mean, let's start with the big name, McCaffrey. I mean, how good do you feel drafting McCaffrey? Some people were taking Jamar Chase and Jefferson over McCaffrey in some leagues. He wasn't going number one. I mean, must feel
Yeah.
good.
And Jefferson still makes sense because this dude's putting up 20 plus, 24 plus with no touchdowns yet on the season.
Right.
So I'm still comfortable. Like if you drafted Justin Jefferson first overall pick, but where you really feel good with drafting Christian McCaffrey is while every other running back around the league is seemingly depleted and they're getting injured, they're falling out of your lineups, you're having to drop them because they're done for the year. Christian McCaffrey, who's had a bit of an injury history himself, is staying healthy. And that's a huge advantage at the running back position right now because people are scrambling, trying to get guys into their lineups. Kevin will talk about you because I know you know
Yeah.
that feeling right now. I also
Right.
know that feeling. I'm stuck with like Antonio Gibson as RB2 in a league. It's not a good feeling. When the Christian McCaffrey being one of the running backs to survive the onslaught of injuries is so huge for your team, and it gives you an edge that we couldn't foresee. A lot of people like to wait on running back, go zero RB strategy, but it looks like if you did take McCaffrey, you have that one edge in every
Yeah.
single matchup that you have right now.
No, 100%. And I was watching the game yesterday, and every time McCaffrey got hit a little late on the sideline or they ran him 5 times in a row, I was like, oh, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's gonna
You're like
happen. It's gonna
waiting
happen
for
right
it.
now. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. And he looks good. He looks healthy. And I think the game plan that they have going on over there in San Fran is just working to his benefit, even if it feels like they're overusing him. But they truly, it may feel like being overused, but they truly are not. I mean, Debo stepped up yesterday, hauling in a whopping 25 points in PPR leagues.
Yeah.
They got Kittle into the mix, which Kittle wasn't seeming like he was getting into the mix a lot in the first
Finally,
2
right?
weeks. Yeah, they
Mhm.
got him to the mix there. He had 9 targets, catching 7 of those for 90 yards. It looked like what we expected San Fran to be, a good,
Yeah.
solid, and I mean this in like like Sauce Garner said about the Patriots. It's a simple offense, but it's working because everybody's doing what they have to do and everybody's making things go. And they're scary. They're scary. I said this about the Dolphins as well in the beginning. They were scary the way their game plan was, even though Dolphins' game plan is a little bit more intricate and a little bit collegey, I like to
Yeah.
say. But 49ers looking like they're getting everybody together. They're getting some of these other guys. They had Bell with a touchdown. He didn't put too much fantasy value up, but they're spreading the ball and it's looking good. Even with their kicker, 3 extra points. I mean, everybody
Yeah,
gave you
Moody
points
with
in
a
that.
cool 12
Yeah,
points.
yeah. Everybody is giving love this week in that Thursday night game, and it's just wild.
I mean, for me, McCaffrey's always ran like that, right? He was
Yeah,
playing. He was
but
playing bully ball last night, though.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was running
Bully
strong.
ball, bro. He was bullying the Giants defense, but overall, the Niners were bullying the Giants defense. Like it
Yeah.
got to a point where that second half started, and they were like, "Yeah, these guys are weak." Like they're
Yeah.
literally overpowering them.
Debo and Kittle are carrying 3 Giants on their back at once. It was incredible.
Wild.
Crazy. It's watching. What was it? What was it that I saw last night where George Kittle stiff arming the Giants, but he's on the sideline and he's not even trying to push him out of bounds. He's just like
he's just like, all right, I'll go on the ride with you. Why not?
Oh my God, he's just absolutely getting bullied yesterday. But yeah, no, back like Christian McCaffrey. It's funny, right? Because Christian McCaffrey was always he was a 1 and 2 for years, and then now he fell to like the 4, 5.
Yeah.
And
well, it depends.
He's playing back to his 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
well, he was playing 3-4, right? He was falling like 3-4, I would say.
Yeah, some leagues, people still took him number 1. We were in a league where Christian McCaffrey went first overall, and I was so heavy on the Justin Jefferson train that I was like, I don't know why.
So was I. I'm
not
not gonna shy away from that.
That's just forgetting how good McCaffrey is. Now, the reason why I would say that I was leaning Jefferson at the number 1 spot over McCaffrey is just because running backs are often injured, and he's one that's often injured. I'd rather have Justin Jefferson for 17 than McCaffrey for 11 or 12. But we're 3 weeks in. His workload has been insane. 18 carries last night, and he's staying healthy. That's the big thing, and that's an edge that that's an edge that you have over almost every other team in your league because all these running backs are just dropping like flies right now.
Yeah, they're dropping like flies. Speaking about dropping like flies, we go back to Saquon on the Giants. It sucks. Sounds like he's going to be back next week, from what he says at least. On average, that injury takes anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. But give us a little bit more about that, Trav, and not only Saquon, but the other injuries that we have looking out towards week 3 and after week 2.
Yeah, Saquon is a week-to-week situation. It's an ankle sprain. The severity is really what determines the timeline, but he's saying that he's feeling better and that he doesn't foresee it being too long. At worst, I'm thinking maybe he misses 1 more game, but there's also a chance that he feels a lot better throughout the week, rests it up, comes back, and he's ready to go. Derrick Henry, another running back. Oh, hold on. We would kind of be remiss. We didn't get to talk about it because it happened on Monday night, but the Nick Chubb injury, that's another one that really, really sucks. I mean, he's been a beast in fantasy. He's a hell of a running back in real football, probably the best pure runner. To see an injury like that again, similar to the one he sustained in Georgia, you just hope it's not career ending. So shout out to Nick Chubb. And, we hope that a great player is able to come back and play football again. Now I'll move on to Derrick Henry, who didn't practice Thursday with a toe injury and is looking to maybe get some limited work in, but he's a beast. If it's just a little toe injury, you can imagine that he could still sit out on Friday's practice today in a couple of hours and still play on Sunday because of just the nature of his body and how he's built. Austin Eckler, ankle injury, didn't practice Thursday. There's a chance that he doesn't play this game as well. Joshua Kelly, who disappointed in the matchup against the Titans, which we kind of foresaw because how good their run defense is. He would get an upgrade again this week. So keep an eye on Austin Eckler. Joe Burrow with the calf did not practice on Thursday. Many are anticipating a limited workload at practice on Friday, but they just promoted actually a quarterback from their practice squad to the active roster. They signed one to the practice squad. So you really only do that if you're worried about Joe Burrow and his calf and thinking that 1 week off is the best way to go. So keep an eye out on him as they play Monday night against the Rams, I believe. So it's a tricky situation. Anthony Richardson has a concussion. He was officially ruled out just a while ago. So he did not practice. Won't have Anthony Richardson in your lineup. Make other plans. Devontae Smith with a hamstring. He's nursing that. They're calling it hamstring and thigh. So both sides of the leg. Weird enough. Didn't practice yesterday. they're not sure that he's going to miss the game. They think that he's going to end up playing. So just keep monitoring Devontae Smith's status, but he should be a go. DK Metcalf has a rib injury, also did not practice, but they're anticipating he should play. They're just kind of giving him rest. DeAndre Hopkins was limited with that ankle injury that he's been dealing with. Amon-Ra St. Brown has that turf toe injury, but he is trending up. He's also dealing with a knee, but they said that he's trending up and that he may play on Sunday. Aaron Jones nursing the hammy. He was limited on Thursday's practice. He should get another a workload in practice today on Friday, and he should be good to go this weekend. Jalen Waddle still in concussion protocol, or they're still treating him like he has that concussion. He did not practice. Jamal Williams has a hamstring injury, and he's trending down. So that's a boost up for Kendre Miller, who's going to get some work finally in the New Orleans Saints backfield. And Kamara comes back soon. That's good for Kamara owners as well. And lastly, after that long list, Miles Sanders has a pec strain. He was limited in practice. He should be playing, but in case he does not, you would upgrade Chuba Hubbard. And since we're on the Panthers, no Bryce Young as well this weekend against Seattle. Andy Dalton will be the starter for the Carolina Panthers this weekend.
Let's go, Andy.
And we're done.
Thank you, Trav, for the injury update. A lot of big names there, a lot of scary names there. I want to point out, and this is going to be a little bit biased because I have him on my fantasy league, the Real Deal Fantasy League, that is. Joe Burrow. I mean, nothing to be happy about on his performances in the first 2 weeks, and now we're talking about that he may not even play on Monday, and having an injury on a Monday night game, and especially a star player that's probably in some people's lineup as Joe Burrow. Well, if you have Joe Burrow, you're starting him. Not probably. You're starting him if you have Joe Burrow, unless you picked up Tua or somebody later and you're pushing him above that. You're starting Joe Burrow. And what are our options there? You know, like do you just go ahead and pick up somebody off a waiver wire or at this point off the free agency list and hope for the best? Like, what are we expecting there?
Yeah, when it comes to Burrow, for me, I would go ahead and start making my plans now. There's another quarterback who, in every league I'm in, he's still available on the free agent list, and he plays in that same game against Joe Burrow, and it's Matt Stafford. So you would be able to wait till Monday night, same way you would with Joe Burrow. Now you would do it with the replacement of Matt Stafford going in, who hasn't put up impressive numbers himself as a fantasy quarterback, just 13 points in week 1, 14 in week 2. But they're airing the ball out like crazy. There's a lot of opportunity for touchdown passes against that Cincinnati defense. And that's where Stafford's value has kind of been depleted a bit because he hasn't thrown many touchdowns. I believe he only actually has one on the season to Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But on the bright side, he will be the best quarterback in that matchup on Monday night if Joe Burrow does not play.
Right.
It's a defense that he played against in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago as well. And he's got weapons that he's making fantasy relevant. Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams is becoming a strong pass catching option out the backfield. Tyler Higbee. So I do see maybe a 2 touchdown game for Stafford coming in. So that would be a guy that I'm looking to replace Joe Burrow with if he's available in your league.
Yeah. Let's see. Taking the advice from Trav, making my pickups now. No. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's scary. I mean, there's a lot of ifs and buts there on the injuries and looking into week 3 and the matchups. I know we kind of skipped over all the Sunday games and the Sunday night game went straight to Monday, but it's a big name. And it's when we talk about that, it's scary. Some people drafted Joe Burrow, maybe 5th quarterback, 6th quarterback after maybe Lamar and some other people. Yeah. It's a lot of value you gave up and he's not producing, and it just sucks. It just sucks. Looking into week 3 though, what are some names that we want to look at in week 3? Some matchups, games that we're looking at. What are we looking at?
Well, one that I'm interested in seeing is the Kansas City Chiefs and Chicago Bears, because I feel like this needs to be a game where, they're going to lose, they're going to get blown out, and they're on the road. But I need to see, in a game where they're probably going to be behind by multiple touchdowns, I need to see Justin Fields and DJ Moore get on the same page and stay on the same page and try to carry that throughout the rest of the season. Because right now, DJ Moore had a good week 2, but he's very boomer bust with Justin Fields as his quarterback. And for me, he falls in that Chris Godwin, Mike Williams range right now, which is definitely not where you drafted DJ Moore. And then
Right.
when you look at a guy like Justin Fields, who you drafted for the rushing upside that he held in fantasy, he hasn't been giving you any of that either. So he had the one last week, but he's not running as much as he should be, as much as he even wants to. A lot of criticism of his offensive play caller this week from his own mouth. So I want to see that game in particular for those two players, Justin Fields and DJ Moore. I need to see more from DJ, and he needs to make me feel comfortable with starting him in my flex.
I don't think he's gonna have a good week. I'm sorry. No, I just don't. I was just like, I don't know. I know we're not at that part yet, but I'm just looking at Kansas City's defense, and they basically went from getting 1 sack week 1 to 4 with Chris Jones back. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm only allowing 9 points. I feel like he's gonna have a bad week. And
Yeah,
I know
you
we're
would
not
think.
at that part, but talk more about it. But a game I'm looking at, I really want to see the Texans versus Jags. Not more so because I want to see I don't upset. I just want to see how CJ Stroud, if he continues to progress and
Is your
get better.
is your gut telling you upset though? Because that's what it's telling me. That's what it's telling me.
I feel like I've been sniffing the upset for a while, especially because the offense seems like it's clicking a little bit better.
Right.
Mhm.
I think they still need to get Damon Pierce involved
Mhm.
for it to really be a high-powered offense, because I don't think he's involved enough yet.
Yeah.
He's a good running back. I feel like he's just not being utilized just yet. I think they got him more blocking in the front, but I think once they get him going, yeah, I think Houston is going to be a good offensive team.
That's an interesting game for sure, because now all of a sudden Nico Collins finishes as wide receiver 5 in week 2 with 27.6 fantasy points, 7 catches for 146 yards and a tutty. So
Yep.
CJ Stroud steps in as a rookie, and by game 2, he's given Nico Collins a wide receiver 24 finish, which constitutes as a wide receiver 2, someone you're starting as a wide receiver 2. And then a wide receiver 5 finish against Indianapolis, which obviously a wide receiver 5 finish is great from somebody that you drafted way towards the end of the draft, maybe round 12, 13. So I like that you picked this matchup. I see the potential in that Houston Texans offense. And like you said, it's an added bonus if they can get Dameon Pierce involved. And I agree. I do think that this game has upset written all over it now that I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, he actually got Tank Dell involved more last week. He got Robert Woods. Robert Woods was looking really good last week in that game, in my opinion. But it's just Dameon Pierce isn't involved yet. But they really look like an offense that's clicking. So I really feel like the Jags are gonna have to. The Jags are always in these shootouts anyway, right? Like they're always in these. So I feel like this might be one of those situations, and see what happens. I'm got an eye on CJ Stroud, but you guys know I have Nico, so that I benched this week and took a L. But I have him. I have him in 3 leagues, and
Damn, you benched wide receiver 5, bro? What?
Yeah, definitely did. On the last minute,
You benched somebody you suggested.
Oh yeah, I was so frustrated about it. So frustrated about it. And you know who I benched him for?
I don't want to hear it.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, I think you're the real actor.
Yeah. I definitely reacted that morning because I did it right like before the game. And then once it locked, I was like, why did I do that? And I regretted it. Regretted it really bad. 1-1 now.
Yeah, man. That's rough. That's rough. You gotta take your own advice, man. The people's I've been getting text messages, calls, DMs all weeks talking about
I have them in 3.
how good all of our picks were and suggestions and things like that, and you're not gonna even take your own advice, man.
You know what it is? I have them in 3 leagues and I picked the wrong league. Like, the thing is, I'm like invested in these leagues. Like, I'm actually enjoying these leagues, but this one overall is like the one that I want to win. So I was like, I picked the wrong league, like the wrong league and the wrong week to fuck around. I was just like, and I found out.
Yeah, that you did
exactly what happened.
Well, for me, this one, it's kind of a cheat, but both teams are 0-2. Both teams are 0-2. And I just think, once again, I said this for week 1 and I was right. And I see it again. So it's kind of a similar matchup. and that's the Chargers at the Vikings. Both teams are
Okay.
0-2. There's so many points in those two teams. Kirk Cousins an animal right now. If you have him as your fantasy quarterback, and sometimes, I mean, in most cases, some people are not starting Kirk Cousins because he was picked up a little late, and they have maybe as a second quarterback. But I mean, you got Justin Jeffersons, you got Kirk Cousins, you got Keenan Allen on the other end. There's just so much value in this game, and I'm excited to see it again. I see another shootout. I believe it's going to be similar to Week 1, and both of these teams are looking for their first win. So Cam Akers is over there at the Vikings now. I don't know if he's going to play. Do you have any of that info, Trav?
I don't know if he's
I
gonna
know he
play. I
passed all
would
his
assume,
physicals.
yeah. I would
So
assume they get him some carries because it's easy to
Right.
trickle in a running back little by little. It's not like a quarterback coming in that needs to learn everything about the system. You
right.
could tell your running back, "Hey, we're gonna run right. Just get ready for it." So
Yeah.
it that some coaches have admitted to it being that easy too. It'll just be like, "Hey, you say the play, and then just let the running back know what he has to do on his own." So
Yeah.
I think Cam could get a couple carries.
Yeah, so there's a lot of value there, and they're both looking for their first win. I think we're going to see another high-scoring game, a lot of points on the board. Justin Jefferson might have a field day. I know Justin Jefferson does not have the speed of Tyreek, but Tyreek destroyed that defense. And if you look at the replays and the film on that Chargers Dolphins game, I'm not taking anything away from Tyreek. Still my favorite receiver this year in all of fantasy and in football. He's just exciting to watch. But the defense was just terrible. The defense was terrible. They were putting linebackers on Tyreek. I mean, it's just a joke. It's a joke. And I expect to see a lot of value in a lot of areas in that game.
Yeah. I'll talk about this matchup in particular, a little more later because there may
Right.
be a factor or an actor in this game for me that we'll talk about.
That's good. That's good. All right, let's keep going here and let's look at some other Week 3 games. We all gave our games. Another game, I mean, it's just the Dolphins are so high power right now,
Hand
but
up.
that
What
Broncos
happened?
Dolphins game.
We're not going to talk about the Browns.
The
and whether-
Browns?
Yeah, either they're coming in for it tough or are they going to be
Coming in for it tough.
Is it hunting season or is it for it tough?
Oh man, that's going to be an interesting backfield.
All right,
to
well,
watch.
the update just came out that they said depending on these next 48 hours, they said he's playing, but how much they don't know yet.
Yeah, I would
he's
imagine
definitely
so.
suiting up. I mean, I would imagine it's going to be very easy for him to suit up and come into the game this week, Kareem Hunt. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that one goes.
I wouldn't plug him in a lineup yet at all. I wouldn't start him yet. We got to see if he's in football shape, what type of workload he's going to get. Over time, I'm sure it'll increase, but they really like Jerome Ford. There's a reason why they kept him around as the backup to Nick Chubb. In case a situation like that happened, you never want to see an injury, especially to a player like Nick Chubb, but they felt comfortable with Jerome Ford being his backup.
I got another game.
Well, Kevin had mentioned the Broncos and Dolphins, and I think that's one that we should talk about because that's an interesting matchup as well, because the Broncos defense hasn't lived up to what it is, and they just got absolutely flamed, torched,
Right.
murdered by Sam Howell. Sam Howell, who doesn't have Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. He's got Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, very good wide receivers, but they're not the two that we just listed.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in seeing that matchup.
Right. I mean, it's a good matchup. We have to look at Waddle in the concussion protocol. And if he's going to play, he's practicing today is the last report I read is that he's practicing today, but it's important. And it's important because although Tyreek is Tyreek, he's going to do Tyreek things. He's going to get open. And even Braxton Berrios is getting open on some plays. And the way they run their offense allows their players to get open. They're having running starts. It looks like arena football, college, whatever you want to call it, they're doing it. It reminds me actually a little bit when the Dolphins implemented the wildcat. And everything was so moving and everybody was confused. And a lot of these teams couldn't figure it out at first. And I can imagine what the fantasy value was then when these players were just easy. It seemed easy, seemed like cake, seems like butter. Will teams catch up to it? I believe so, just as they caught up to the Wildcat. But as of right now, it's still early and people are still trying to figure out this team. And the Broncos are not going to be the team to figure it out. I see another, I'm not going to say easy win, but I see another win for the Dolphins there. If Waddle is not playing, though, the Tyreek value? Does it go up? Does it go down? What do you feel about that?
If Waddle doesn't play,
Right.
I think it stays the same for Tyreek. He's the go-to guy always at all times. Waddle obviously gets his when he's in there as well, but Tyreek is going to eat. There's not a player in the league that can guard him. There's not a defense in the league that can stop him. The only way Tyreek has a bad game is if Tua has a bad game, because outside of that, if they're clicking, they're probably the best quarterback wide receiver combo right now in the league.
Yeah, I think something to look at in that game specifically is if Waddle is out. I'm not saying that Tyreek's going to have a bad game. I just don't think it's going to be as good as his last two. He's still going to get you the points you need. He's obviously you're still going to start him. But I'm looking at Raheem Mostert, and he had a good game last week. I see him getting some love this week. I for sure see him getting in for a touchdown this week, at least one tutty for him. Maybe with Waddle out, they do a little bit of those screen or those rollouts and give him even a receiving touchdown. I like Mostert to exceed expectations this week as well if Waddle is out. And I know we're looking at Waddle and the fact like, oh, he hasn't been that fantasy like, oh my God, as of yet. But remember, when you're covering Tyreek and Waddle, you can't give Tyreek too much attention. So
Right.
You have to spread out that love, and the way to run that offense, you have to spread it out. You can't double team Tyreek because someone else is just going to get open. Look, Braxton Berrios had a excellent route and some good catches, and I believe on the touchdown that Tyreek had, Braxton Berrios was behind Tyreek, ready for the 6 as well, wide open.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. Anytime the Dolphins play, you're going to see a lot of fantasy value there. And as far as the Broncos, if we go into the other side of that, I mean, Javonte Williams is the guy, right? That's what we're looking at. I haven't, to be honest, been following the Broncos too heavily, so I don't know any else of my fantasy value there, to be honest. Do you have any input in that, Bruce and Trev?
I mean, 1 second. You guys just gonna disrespect my man River of Crawcraft, bro? Name like River of Crawcraft. You guys ain't gonna talk about him. Major upside. Crazy.
Major upside, yeah.
Major upside. No, I would like to see this. I would like to see the Broncos offense start getting something going.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like Russell Wilson was coming back for a serious season. I mean, this last game against Washington was a good game, but it was because it was a shootout.
Right.
Yeah, the defense didn't come to play.
Well, for fantasy, we want them shootouts. So
No, of course.
I'm inviting another one with the Dolphins.
But I mean, Javonte Williams not cracking 10 points that's not what you drafted him for, you know?
Right.
It's like what did Judy have last week? 5 points. You didn't draft Judy. Get 5 points. Like,
right.
You need to see
so my point, they haven't been on my radar for obvious reasons. We're not seeing value there.
So I mean, something's got to give. I mean, who the hell got the points last week?
Marvin Mims. But look at Marvin Mims. I'm pretty sure he had maybe 20 plus.
He had 20 points. Oh,
yeah.
God. But you like in Dynasty, you got this guy, but you probably didn't even start him.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, for sure. In redraft, I doubt. I mean, maybe he's on a bench. I doubt anybody played him. So his 20-point effort, while triumphant with his 20-point effort, wasn't really helping anybody unless it's a super deep league. Like if you're in a 16 or 20 person league, yeah, maybe you had Marvin Mims playing, but in a 12-man, I doubt that you did. I do want to go back to Javonte Williams real quick though, because like you said, 2 weeks in a row, he hasn't cracked 10 points. He had 9.7 against the Raiders in week 1 and 7.8 against Washington. The most concerning thing to me, and I understand he's coming back from a major knee surgery as well, similar to Brees, how they're trying to bring him back in slowly. Right. The snap percentage, 45% in week 1, 45% in week 2. That is extremely accurate. And it makes me wonder if that's like the number for him that they're shooting for, 45%. And then they want to try to increase it. I think this would be the week to increase it. I think you want to keep the ball out of Tua's hands so he can't explode on you on offense with Tyreek Hill. If Jalen Waddle plays with Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, all this speed. And if Jalen Waddle doesn't play, does Devon A-Chain kind of step up into a wide receiver role a bit? That'd be interesting to see. But if you want to beat the Miami Dolphins in Miami, I feel like you need to run the ball, keep the ball out of Tua's hands. So this should be the week that Javonte Williams cracks 10 and hits maybe that 50-55 snap percentage, because finishing as RB29 and RB30 this early, it's expected a little bit coming off the ACL. He wasn't drafted to be your RB2, hopefully, because you prepared for and understood the fact that, he had the injury to his knee and he was coming back from that.
Right.
But you do want to see him in a world where running backs are dropping like flies. You want to see your guys have some sort of value. So,
I just want to say, you don't want to play them at 1:00 on a Sunday
no,
In
you do
Miami.
not.
in Miami.
In Miami.
And listen, I
Being
we
honest.
we all live here in Florida. We know how hot the buzz is right now on the Dolphins. Those fans are going to show up in that stadium. They're 2-0. They all think they're going to the Super Bowl. That stadium's going to be loud. It's going to be hot. I don't see
I
it.
ain't gonna,
I don't see it.
I ain't gonna
No,
front.
Denver doesn't win, but if they want to, it's got to be through Javonte, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Tailgates for fun over there.
Yeah.
Say that.
It's always a good time. It's always a good time hanging out with those Dolphin fans. They're
That West Side be
they're fun.
Damn, are you guys wearing the wrong shade of green? What's going on here?
No, the green is still there, but listen, we're talking about facts. We're talking about accuracy. We're talking about things that are just going on in the fantasy world, in the football world, and right now it's the Dolphins.
Oh,
Sorry,
real quick,
I almost threw up.
Before we move on, we're moving on to another game, but before we move on to anything else, it's Battle of the Rookie RBs this week, guys. So that's something to watch.
Oh,
I didn't. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't even realize that.
Bijan
talk about
Bijan
it.
Mustard and Jameer Gibbs.
Let's talk about it. Well, Montgomery out dealing with a thigh injury, right?
No.
And Bijan just being elusive and just hitting all the points that we hope he was going to hit and be in the beginning of the year. It's going to be a good game. These are two good teams. The Falcons, another team, 2-0. I mean, I don't know how, but 2-0, and this is a good game. Now, there's a good. Let's put it just straight to that. Let's go. Rookie RB against rookie RB. We have one guy that's going to be taking majority of the carries, another guy that's splitting carries but still putting up fantasy value. Who are we taking here? Who's going to have the better game?
This might be the Gibbs game right here, because if I was coaching this team, I'm letting him. He's balls to the wall, bro. Go ahead. Right. Like you, this is your game here to get. I mean, you got Zonovan, Knight, and Reynolds. Yeah, they're gonna get touches, but this is where you let this kid. He's got to show out. You got to let him show out. This is like the perfect game to let him show out. Like, let's show them why we picked you. I mean, obviously they got him because they couldn't get the pick, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we picked you, we believe in you, so let's show out. I mean,
many people thought the Lions reached on Jameer Gibbs at the 12th overall pick, and when you're talking about a running back in the first round, maybe kind of, but he was a top 5 player in that class when it comes to just football. Throw positional value out the window. Jameer Gibbs is an elite talent, and with no David Montgomery now for maybe a couple of weeks, he's going to have that backfield mainly to himself. Craig Reynolds, I do believe, will get worked in. If he gets more than 7 or 8 carries, I'd be furious as a Jameer Gibbs owner, because what are we doing, dude? Craig Reynolds,
let him ride out.
Come on. Let's put the ball in Jameer Gibbs' hands as often as possible. And for that reason, I see Jameer Gibbs outscoring Bijan as well. Bijan's still going to get his, though. He's projected for 15.34. I can see him hitting that easily, but I do think Jameer Gibbs outscores his projections as well. Because remember, folks, projections are just opinions, and these players are going to smash. These players are going to absolutely smash in this matchup. I like Bijan. I like Jameer Gibbs.
If we see anything less from Gibbs, and I'm talking about that not from him as a player, but as his play time, there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, because we expected, even with Montgomery there, we expected a little bit more love for Gibbs. So if we see anything less, I draw area of concern if we see anything less from Gibbs this week, just because we expect him to be way more and he is elusive. He is quick. He is breaking these tackles. I mean, it's the obvious thing here. So if anything is shown less, there's something on the back end, whether they want to ease him in, maybe they don't want to use him too much, whatever the case may be. It's a little area of concern, in my opinion. But with all that said, I'm on the Gibbs side as well.
So here's one more question I want to pose from this game, because, again, if you look at the opinions here, Sam Laporta is projected to score 8.07 points. Kyle Pitts is projected to score 7.98 points. Think about where you drafted Kyle Pitts. Think about that waiver wire claim that you used on Sam Laporta. How in the hell have we gotten to a point where Sam Laporta is projected to outscore Kyle Pitts in fantasy? Kyle Pitts, that situation in Atlanta has got to be the most disappointing thing possible.
Every year for what has he been in the league? 3 years now? Is it 3?
I believe this is his third. Yeah.
All 3 years he was ranked so highly. He was so
Mhm.
highly anticipated, and he continues to just fall short of projections, fall short of just what the player that we thought he was going to be. And what is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Listen,
Shame
I'm
on
not.
you.
I only know how J. Cole said it. I
Yeah,
don't know that.
Right. Exactly. So my point exactly. I'm every year I see him on. Even if he's the highest projected player for me to draft at that point, statistic wise, I skip him for the past 3 years. I've never picked him up. He just got a bad feeling in my stomach about him. Sam Laporte is your guy in this game. I mean, it's very easy to say.
It's crazy that we've gotten to this point. If I had both of them on my team, I'm without a doubt starting Sam Laporta at this point too. A lot of it is uncontrollable for Kyle Pitts. Quarterback is cheeks. Coaching staff does not seem to care enough to get the highest drafted tight end ever in the real NFL draft involved enough. So if you have another tight end behind Kyle Pitts, it might pain you to sit that name that you drafted in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, depending on where you valued him. But I mean, he's giving you waiver wire production. So why not try somebody else?
Yeah.
It's a 1:00 game, bro. I gotta see something here. You gotta give me something.
This needs
Like,
to be
there's
fireworks.
too much, yeah, there's too much here. There's too much in this game right now. You got Ritter's finally coming around. He's what he did all right last week, right?
He had a good game last week, fantasy wise. He put up, I
Yeah.
believe, north of 20.
Fantasy wise, and even overall, right? He had a better game. He had a better game. He
Threw
took a
that
couple
touchdown to
sacks.
Drake London.
I can't get over his picture on this thing, but yeah, the passing offense is getting together. Same thing with the Lions. You know, Goff is finding Reynolds. He's spreading the ball out. I think who else he got involved last week?
I believe Khalif
Jones?
Raymond got some love.
Or was it Raymond or Jones?
Yeah, let me see. I'm pretty sure
He was
Khalif did
spreading,
something.
but he's spreading the love. So now you got both teams coming up with their pass offense.
So
Let
Khalif,
these dudes run the ball.
yeah, that's the big thing.
Let these dudes run the ball.
So
And,
real quick to clarify, Khalif had 2 catches, 46 yards, and the touchdown. So 3 targets. That's not anything that we're going crazy about. But he did get the touchdown, and Jared Goff is spreading the ball around. He has become a competent quarterback that can clearly support a wide receiver 1 in Amon-Ra St. Brown, and hopefully he can support a running back 1 in Jahmyr Gibbs as well.
And give Kyle Pitts his snaps. So I was looking at their snap percentage. He's like around almost 70 snaps, and Laporta's almost close to 90, 85.
No way.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
Imagine
they're not putting them in, man.
The highest drafted tight end ever, the 4th
week
overall
1
pick 2 years ago.
Week 1, 62% of snaps.
Yeah.
Week 2, 70. So week 1, 62%. Week 2, 70.
70. And I believe he had more points in week 1 on the 62% than he did in week 2.
Yep, sure did.
Unreal.
It's crazy. So that's something that I want to just see these guys going. Just shoot it out, bro. It's gonna be.
Can we move to factors and actors? This is depressing stuff. Every time we talk about the Atlanta Falcons, my mood just goes right down the drain, man.
Okay.
I need to talk about something positive.
Let's talk about factors and actors. Let's also talk about the accuracy that was given on the show last week before we get into these factors and actors. And
Bradbury would have been responsible for Addison. So now Addison
guy
gets Avonte Maddox and inexperienced Josh Jobe as the corners that'll be matching up with him. So maybe Addison could have another big game. So I'll call my shot on Devontae Smith.
All right.
Last year's game, it was also Devontae Smith who finished as wide receiver 25 in that week 2 matchup.
Okay.
AJ Brown finished as wide receiver 39. But if you have DeAndre Swift, this is the time to play him while they're man down in that backfield that committee that you just can't stand?
Hey now. Hey now.
He was on
Hey
point.
now. Who was on point? Talking about this guy being on point. The floor is yours because that was just incredible, man. He was on point with all his analysis, and the floor is yours right now. Give us your factor for week 3.
My factor for week 3 was in that video. And by the way, I will have lotto numbers for anybody that DMs me and sends me $10 because I will hit on that too. So just DM me, send me $10 and I'll get you the winning numbers. It's all right. My factor was in that game. We showed the clip. It was, I believe, the first player that we showed in the clip, and it's Jordan Addison, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings against the Los Angeles Chargers. Jordan Addison is projected for 10.66 points in week 3 against this weak Chargers defense that got torched by Tua Tagovailoa, who's a damn good quarterback, and Tyreek Hill, who's a great wide receiver. But I think that there's going to be opportunity for Jordan Addison. One, because Justin Jefferson is his teammate, and that's always a plus, right? That's always a positive. When Justin Jefferson is your teammate and you're on the other side of that, you're going to eat. Now, where I really think we see that next step for Jordan Addison is in his snap percentage. Week 1, he played 56% of the snaps. Week 2, he played 69% of the snaps. That's a nice number, by the way. Now, week 1, he had 16.10 fantasy points on the 56% snaps, had a touchdown. Week 2, 16.20. Now, he's averaging 16.15 a game, obviously, when you get 16 in both games. But I think that his production is only going to continue to increase. Now, obviously, it's hard to sustain 16 fantasy points per game. But I think long-term season value, you can definitely consider him I don't want to say a safe flex play, but you could put him in and feel good about it because you know that the boom potential is there.
Right.
I do think that he begins to take more snaps. I think that 69% increases in week 3 against the Los Angeles Chargers. I keep wanting to say San Diego. Still, years later, I'm not used to it. The 69% should increase against the Chargers in week 3. And it should now start floating in that 70, 80% area, hopefully. And he should be taking away the 2 wide receiver set snaps from KJ Osborne because it is clear that when Jordan Addison is on the field, he's more effective. So Jordan Addison is my factor for week 3 against the Chargers. I predict that he will outscore his 10.66 projection.
I think that's easy, right? I think that's a great choice, and I think it's easy in the fact that that projection is low. Projection is low for such a high power offense right now, giving everybody love. Addison love. Kirk slinging the thing around. Sounded weird. Kirk slinging the football around.
Right.
and he's up there very, very high on my QB list for someone that was drafted pretty late in regards to QB.
And if I can, real quick, one more point about Jordan Addison against the Chargers. With the addition of Cam Akers, you know, I'm not sure. I don't know how the backfield is going to be split up by them, but I do think that they'll find their success on offense passing the ball more than they will rushing the ball, especially considering Alexander Madison's efficiency just hasn't been there. And if we're talking about absent efficiency or insufficiency, I guess would be the word, right? Cam Akers, week 1, 22 carries for 29 yards. Like, that's not a trade that moves the needle. It's just an extra body in there to give Alexander Madison a break. But the run game just hasn't been efficient enough. So I think if they want to give themselves the best chance to win, Kirk Cousins might end up throwing this thing 40 times. So that's another reason behind why I'm choosing Jordan Addison.
Hey man, we could be back to like Randy Moss, Chris Carter days.
Hey now,
you know,
something to that effect.
You know?
Easy.
I know.
I mean, Justin Jefferson is definitely on that trajectory of Randy Moss.
With such a large claim like that, let's hear your claim for factor of the week, Bruce.
Factor of the week. All right, so it's not a major one. It's not like look out. But now that you got Travis Kelce back, you want to start plugging in some of the supporting cast. And this week, I believe Pacheco is dealing with an ankle or a hamstring, one or the other. He's dealing with a hamstring, it looks like. So you got to put McKinnon in. I would be playing McKinnon. I would I would believe he's going to get more snap count depending on how they play Pacheco, or if he even gets to play. He's limited practice. So honestly, McKinnon was a guy I used to plug in last year. I feel like now that Kelsey's back, the offense is starting to roll. The defense is getting there. You want to play McKinnon. McKinnon's a pass catcher. He gets touchdowns. Let's see. I didn't dive too deep in it, but I'm pretty sure last year McKinnon was getting those boomer bust games, especially towards the end of the year. So I would definitely keep an eye on that. Last year he's had some quite few games. Who are they playing this week?
They play the Bears. And last year, coming into this year, I was super high on Jerick McKinnon because he finished as RB20 last year in his pass catching role. And think about where you drafted him. You drafted him well outside of the top 20 running backs. He was probably more in that late 30s, early 40s as a running back to be drafted in that backfield. So
He might have even
I
been
do think
sitting in the waiver.
eventually, honestly. So I do think at some point this season it's going to click and they're going to get him involved again because that was when their offense was at its best. Truly, I believe it when Jerick McKinnon was getting involved.
Agreed. And I believe he was my factor week 1 because
Look at him go.
that's exactly how I felt. And these, to prove a point, we're going into week 3, so we only have week 2, 2 weeks of footage for McKinnon, and he wasn't in much of it. So this is footage from him last year. Speaking about last year, and just the addition he added to this Chiefs team, and how elusive he was for coming out of the backfield, and especially in a PPR format, catching the ball in the backfield. Look at this, boom, easy. Some good coverage there from the linebacker, and still, like, he's making these plays happen. I do agree with this. I do expect to see him back and expect to see something coming up because we haven't seen much, and he's on the verge, very close in my fantasy team, of getting cut. And I don't want to do it because I feel just like you feel, Bruce. I see a lot of potential coming up, and it's quite easy to say that he should be a factor in week 3.
Yeah, especially with Pacheco dealing with a hamstring. I would definitely this would be a week I plug him in, especially against the Bears. I would definitely plug him in this week. It's like a no brainer to me. So that 8-point projection, I think it's probably I wouldn't be surprised he gets you around 15, 16.
Oh, okay.
He gets
That would
tutty.
involve. Yeah, I was gonna say that would involve a touchdown. So that's what we're calling. There you go. Will you stand on it and stamp it down like I did Devontae Smith last week?
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I'll
Uh-oh.
stand on it. I'll
There
stand
we
on
go.
it.
I like it.
He
I agree.
gives you these types of weeks, and if you're dealing with your running back is injured, you're probably gonna see like these flea flicker routes where Kadarius Toney is running the ball because they don't want to throw him the ball. They figure if they put it in his hand, he'll hold on to it.
Right.
But if I feel like you're gonna see those types of plays because they run those, and
Yeah.
then McKinnon will just be that they'll use him as a pass catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
We're gonna see tricky Kansas City again.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I feel like we're gonna see this week.
I think they have to because a lot of people are seeing some sort of regression in this team, and they're gonna have to go back to their old ways and do excellent things. And I agree with your factor. Going to my factor, this week was a little tough for me. I just don't have any gut feelings like I usually do about some of these players, but with an injury at wide receiver to this team, for me, it's going to be George Pickens. And the reason why there is because he got that love last week that we were expecting for him to get. And I'm going to continue to see him get it again, I believe. Deontay Johnson now, Pickens, he's getting majority of the catches. And right now he's projected not to have a touchdown next week. So for me, it's easy. For me, it's easy that he's going to get a touchdown next week. This is him last week. He was just balling. He had a career night. I see it continuing to happen, continue to go into week 3, and that Pickett to Pickens is going to continue to happen. Now, this one that we're seeing on screen now was a long pass, yards after catch. Still, I see him with the potential. I see him with the targets, and I see him as outscoring his projection for next week.
Yeah, I like that. Good, young, potentially elite player. Hopefully, he starts getting some love from Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I mean, the love was shown. Yeah, it just has to continue. But his projections this week in PPR in PPR formats is at 14, and No touchdowns.
Wow.
I see him getting a touchdown. I see just definitely more than 14 points. It might not be extremely higher than that ceiling, but 17, 18-point game. Give him a little extra points, a little bit more catches, and definitely add the touchdown there. I can see it happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's
And
a Sunday
while you
night
have the
game.
mic,
Sunday night game.
yeah,
He might be the Sunday night superstar.
there
Or
you
just
go.
primetime superstar this year. Or something.
Superstar. I'll take it. I'll take it, and boom, putting the stamp on it.
Nice.
I mean, I want to clip on TikTok as well. I want to clip on TikTok.
I want my own.
Speaking
clip
about
on
that,
here.
just show some more love to this man right here. That clip, I believe at this point is over 10,000 views on TikTok. So hey,
Nice.
clap it up for my dog.
Shout out to the
Clap it up for my dog.
TikTokers. I don't have the app, but if you do and you're showing love, I appreciate
we
it. We
appreciate
appreciate
you.
it.
And since Bruce wants to go ahead and put me on the spot because I was on the screen, I'll give you my actor. I'll put
Okay.
a stamp on this guy too. Gave everybody a lot of love last week, scoring in PPR leagues. He put up 20 points.
Mm.
We got Zach Moss for the
Mm.
Colts.
Yeah.
20 points, large game. A lot of people were picking him up on the waiver wires. I believe we suggested him here in the waiver wires as well. He had a great game last week. Now, I do think he's going to be good, and until we figure out what's going on with JT, or rather until JT figures out what's going on with JT, he's going to be a definite at least flex start in my opinion. But going against a Baltimore defense, a Baltimore run defense that has not been nice to running backs this year, a lot of people are going to want to start him again, at least in the flex spot. Be wary, is all I'm saying. Be wary with this guy. Zach Moss is projected for 10 points, and I think that's a lot, in my opinion. I think it's a lot. I know Richardson is not going to be there taking vulturing those touchdowns, but I just think we're going to see a different type of offense here, and I just don't see him getting the ball rolling against this Baltimore defense.
Yeah, I agree. Zach Moss, he's someone that it's a flash in the pan right now, in my opinion. Good game, saw some good volume in week 2, but this isn't a player that has a consistent history of performing. So being an actor, I 100% agree with that call.
I mean, I don't like. Yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah,
I'm just not there with it. Not there.
Stamp.
And I'd imagine the run game takes a bit of a hit with no Anthony Richardson also.
Yeah. I mean,
Problem.
it was a tough one for me to pick because Richardson gone, they might lean heavily on the run game, but against his Baltimore defense, I think even if they do come out running it, they're going to change their mind very early.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Minshew, dude. I almost said Andy Dalton. Minshew. He's all right. He's good enough. He could win you a game.
I think he cut the mullet off, so he's no longer.
Come in, he can shock the world.
You know what my problem is with the Colts? There's a lot of he's good enough. He could play.
Yeah, all over
So
that.
you got
team.
you got Anthony Richardson surrounded around a bunch of he's good enough to play.
Yeah, all right. I agree.
So I don't know, man. I would agree with Zach Moss being an actor, dude. The whole offense is full of actors.
Yeah. Will we agree with your actor?
And to be good enough.
Yeah, let's talk about your actor. Are we going to agree on yours?
Man, I think we're just seeing the decline of a young man that should be better than what he is. I pick Justin Fields, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with him.
Man, I've been seeing that clip on TikTok.
Go at it.
Of him doing his checkdowns and everybody being open and him sitting in that pocket for so long.
Oh my gosh.
Tell us about it, Bruce. Tell us how you really feel. I think
Doing
this is a
too
good
much,
actor.
bro. He's just doing too much. He's trying to. Well, I don't know if it's him that's trying to do too much. You know what I feel like? I feel like when, I almost feel like when it was Lamar Jackson, when he got to the playoffs, and the whole season he went playing like Lamar Jackson, and then when it came to the playoffs, they decided, no, you're gonna be a pocket passer.
Yeah.
And it's like, just let the kid play how he plays. Like, if he's gonna I didn't like that they were like designing runs for Lamar that they were keeping him in the pocket, and then when they did let him run, it was like design run. I like watching him in the playoffs at that point. it was horrible. And I feel like it's the same thing with Justin Fields. Like this,
Mhm.
just they're not letting him play.
Yeah,
They're just
he's a
not letting
peacock.
him play.
Mhm.
So he needs, let him fly. He's got to
Yeah.
go. So that's something I feel like they're just holding him back. I don't know if their run game is really as strong as it should be. I don't
It's
know if
not.
maybe they should be trying Rashawn Johnson to see what
They
he's
should.
about.
hmm
But I just feel like there's just certain things because, like DJ Moore, DJ Moore is still pretty good, bro.
Yeah, of
He's not,
course.
he's not like he's not wasted. He's a young guy. Then you
Yeah.
got Mooney, and how is Claypool half of the time playing better than these guys?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, bro, you got weapons, use them. But you got feet also, use them. And it's
Mhm.
just, it's not the same. It's not the same. And let's can we talk about comment.
His I think this is a good actor because looking at the projections for Justin Fields this week, we have 9 rushing attempts for 54 yards, no touchdowns on the ground, 1 touchdown through the air at 189 yards. He's projected for 18.3 points, and he just doesn't look as good as we thought he was going to be. And what another player that everybody had such high hope on this year, it's just not showing. It's not translating, and it's sad because I like the kid. I
It's
like the
almost
kid.
like they
I
put
want
him
him
on
to
a
play good.
leash. It's almost like they put him on a leash because he got
Right.
injured last year, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't play like that. Like, you want to play for this franchise, you're not gonna be sustainable like playing like that." But
Yeah.
it's like that's who they are. You just got to learn how to protect themselves. You know,
Mhm.
you slide, get out of bounds, throw the ball away. Like these things they're still learning the game, dude. It's not college anymore, so it's just I don't know. I feel like they just gotta let him off the leash, let him do his thing. I'll be happy to be wrong this week. Be
Yeah.
happy to be wrong this week, but I feel like the game plan, the way they want to play him this year, is not Justin Fields that you guys were seeing last year. It's or in the beginning, like in the beginning of the year, I think it was because didn't he get hurt last year? Am I wrong?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I could have sworn he got because I'm showing like he was out.
Oh,
Looks like he was
I
out.
believe
He
he
was out
did
for like 2
because
games.
because we ended up playing. I remember the Jets ended up playing Trevor Siemian
Yeah, so I
when he
feel
was on
like
the Bears.
it's things like that it affects them. You know, it's just like don't let him
Yeah.
play the game. But
Well,
if I look at all the games that Justin Field last year had 20 plus points, he had almost 100 yards running
yeah.
in those games.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the game he plays. Let him play the game because at the end of the day, it made him a better passer. He was just getting better percentages. I don't know. It's just
No, I completely agree with that standpoint. And speaking about Justin Fields and Trav has
Yep.
him in the real deal league, I believe.
Have him in a few leagues.
You're benching him?
Yeah, I have Dak as my backup in that league. Dak fell
Okay.
to like the 10th, 11th round. So I'm gonna roll with Dak against Arizona. To me, that's a no-brainer. I also have CD Lamb. So in my opinion, stacks are overrated, but I have a stack. So there we go. Um,
Strong statement. But hey,
definitely
speaking about
benching
strong
Justin Fields.
statements, who are you benching in your actor?
My actor is going to be Mr. Consistent himself, James Conner. He goes against the Dallas Cowboys. He's projected for 12.14 points in week 3. However, there will be no reason to give the ball to James Conner because by the end of the first quarter, they should be down 17 zip, 20 zip, 23 zip, whatever. This should be an absolute mauling of the Arizona Cardinals by the Cowboys. And I think it kind of eliminates James Conner from the game script unless he gets some garbage, some pass catching stats because they're behind and Josh Dobbs is going to have to drop back to try to keep them in the game. James Conner currently averaging 14.30. He's projected to get less than what he's averaging, and it's for good reason because this matchup is a hellacious one for running backs in particular. We saw Saquon Barkley in week 1 get X'd out of that, and every running back on the New York Jets was rendered useless as well in fantasy. So James Conner maybe a little healthier than some of those backs that the Cowboys have played this year, but I do think situation and matchup are terrible for James Conner. So thumbs down for him this week.
no, I like it because if you would have told me Micah Parsons was banged up, and now Diggs, that's different. But
Yeah.
you got Michael Parsons back there, dude, and he's been berating the running
Yeah.
backs
hmm
and the quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, he's a beast.
So yeah, I like that one.
The new most valuable defensive player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So there's your actors, or rather factors and actors for this week. Will comment below on who you believe is going to be your factor and actor. Which one of these guys are going to be just not good, and give us your factor and actor. We want to hear what you guys have to say on Instagram, on Twitter. We're going to be giving this Sunday before the games fantasy advice, also posting these actors and factors, so you can determine whether we're right and keep a tally on us. Before we head
Also,
out to go ahead.
I just want to say in the comment section, I would like to find out for those of you listening out there, has your league made any trades? If so, what
Oh.
type of trades are being made? And are you in particular looking to make a trade with your roster? If you care enough to send us over your roster and we could try to manufacture a trade for you, send it over in the comments. I love the whole team and roster construction part of fantasy. So let us know what the trade market is looking like in your league, what's gone down, and what are you contemplating?
Yeah,
And
for
I got
sure.
one.
Go ahead.
What's that?
And I got one. Last week I said Anthony Richardson was an actor, and he made his projections by like point something. Now I said this was gonna be his welcome to the league moment because he kept running that ball, and sure enough, he found out that it was just welcome to the league moment.
He wants to let everybody know that he was kind of right.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's
is
what I'm trying to say. I was kind
But
of.
we
right.
were arguing all week because he has Anthony Richardson as an actor because he got knocked like before the game. He had him as an actor, then he got knocked out of the game. But my counter argument was, dude, before he got knocked out of the game, he had his projections already met in one quarter. In 2 drives, he had 17 points.
And if you would have finished the game,
he probably would
I'm
have.
pretty sure people
would have
lost
clipped 30.
their week off of that.
I mean, maybe you never know what more he could have done, but 17 in just 2 drives is more than enough. Look at Daniel Jones getting 3 in the whole game. It happens.
I mean, he's just scamming. He's not even
trap.
acting at this point.
It's a trap. No, I mean that's an excellent point. Before we head out, since this is the Real Deal League podcast, we have to speak just very little about the Real Deal League fantasy team. And I just want to show this just for everybody from the league that watches the podcast. Just want to give our little shout outs and show a little bit of love here. These are week 3 matchups coming up. Fantasy Hospice is my team. I'm 0-2. I am virtually in a must-win week. I for the first time this year in the first 3 weeks, I'm projected to win, which is crazy. But we have some good matchups here. Go ahead, Trav, speak about your team and your matchup very briefly.
Yeah. Not happy with my team. Obviously, Justin Fields is going to be riding the pine. Dak Prescott is in my starting lineup now. Going against 2-0 Ivan. Projected to win, always guaranteed to lose has kind of been my motto in this league. It's just been rough.
We are both looking for that first win. This is a must win. It's a must win in fantasy world, in virtual world.
I mean, and real quick, you see injured reserve is my team name. I drafted J.K. Dobbins, lost him. I drafted Garrett Wilson, who isn't on injured reserve, but the quarterback and the reason why I drafted him in the second round is. So this team clearly has a lot of hurdles. Like I said, we'll be talking trades. Maybe I package Garrett with something and get him up out of here, but not happy with this start.
No, it's a good point. And the reason I bring this up, Bruce's team sitting at 5th place right now, playing a hot Tim Jet team in Olave Oil. And he just came off a big win, beating one of the best teams in the league, my team. So some people need to be knocked off the pedestal. Some people need to get on the pedestal, and it's just been rough for some of us in this league. Here's our current standings here. Let's give our first place some love here and look at his lineup.
Can you go back to that last page real quick?
Go ahead.
Oh, it changed it. Right where it says touchdown bonanza on the right side, it said amazingly, Feebz has not earned any medals in this league yet.
Hey now. Hey, watch yourself. Watch yourself.
Man.
Let's give 2 girls 1 cup a little bit of love here. This is his lineup here.
Yeah. Best team in the league. If he could package up some of those running backs and upgrade at tight end, because Cole Kmet ain't it, and it may hurt him at some point. But
And
best
he
team in
has
the league.
Kamara coming back very soon.
Right.
So,
So definitely with Damian Pierce, David Montgomery also on his bench. I would look to package a couple guys up and see if he could upgrade at tight end if I were him.
Man,
for
he's
sure.
a
And
piece
then
of shit. He picked up Taysom Hill, bro.
Yeah, I
Taysom
saw
Hill,
that.
the ultimate
saw that.
vulture, bro. That's messed up.
I saw it here. I saw it. I got the alert on my phone. I was like, what?
Excuse
And
my language, but I can't stand Taysom Hill, man. It's
Right.
not, it's just, he's such a vulture, bro.
putting up in 2 weeks 270 points, 2-0. Congratulations for now. That is going to go to Javier, 2 girls, 1 cup in first. And hey, just the same way I give love to first, I got to show a hate to the last place, and that's currently me in the fantasy hospice, the fantasy team where players go to die. It's tough, man. It's tough. I do. This is my lineup here. Write in the comments. What do you guys think I should do? I've been giving we give you advice all the time. Maybe I need a little bit of love from the outside world. Look at this. What do you think I should do? Is there anybody in the that's available in most leagues right now you think I should pick up? And this is my issue right here. I have IR, pup, and Justice Hill more than likely going to be out. It's been tough.
Talk about
tough to say the
talk
least.
about your real dilemma right now, real quick, before we go. What's your real dilemma right now? We were just talking about it.
Who, Burrow?
Yeah,
and it's sad.
No, but not that it's sad. Like right now, if you had to drop somebody,
right in the comments, go
would
ahead.
you drop?
Look at my bench right now. If Burrow doesn't play, I got to pick up a quarterback. And in the comments, go ahead, shoot me a comment. Who do you think on my bench right now is droppable? Or even we have Hollywood Brown on the flex. Who do you think is droppable? Right in the comments right now. Let's see if your advice. Go ahead.
Let's pack Justice Hill up. It's a murky backfield with Gus Edwards.
The
they got Melvin Gordon. They just were they the team that brought Kenyon Drake up as well because they're afraid Justice Hill is going to miss this game?
So.
It's a murky backfield. Drop him. I believe Stafford's available in the league. Pick up Stafford and thank me for your week 3 win.
12 points and 8 points is probably the most points by running back I've had. So it's kind of hard when you have other players there. I know we just spoke about McKinnon, who's only giving you 5 points there. And first week 3, 9. It's tough. It is tough to do.
It is.
But you know what? It's a lot of thinking I have to do. A little bit of advice from my co-host here. A little bit of advice in the comments. I'm going to read the comments. We always read the comments. And let's see what's going to happen. And let's see here. Fantasy medals. Let's go ahead and look at it real quick since you were bringing that up real quick. No medals for me. Oh, my God.
No medals for me.
I'm sure I have none either.
Like that.
Right here, we have the most wins. Most wins in season all time. I give that shout out to Ivan. The longest streak up here as well. Most losses. Look, it's us, you and me, the 2 of the co-hosts up here. And appropriately named team right in between us. And it's been tough. It's been tough. But yeah, I just wanted to show a little bit of love to the RDL league before we headed it out. This is for the league. So you guys,
there it is.
Where it is.
Amazingly. The top right corner
under
fantasy medals. Amazingly, Feebz has not earned any medals in this league.
Probably starting the next week or two. Yeah, probably starting next week or two. We're gonna start bringing some of our managers from the Real Deal League, bringing them on the show, getting their input. It'll be exciting to get a little bit of new faces here, a little bit new voices for all our listeners, and see if we get some love. And I think right on the top, as long as Javier and 2 girls 1 cup keeps it, I think he'll be a good addition to next week's podcast and get a show a little bit of love from him. And he was very strong last week on Daniel Jones, not this week, last week on Daniel Jones. He was very strong, ended up paying out for him. So I would love to get his insight. And Javier, hit us up.
Yeah.
Down to talk about your team, talk about that tight end position. We got to upgrade that for sure.
Right. All right, guys, we're going to try to go live on Sunday morning. If we're not able to, we'll be active on Twitter and Instagram. Hit us up on any one of our socials. Here on YouTube is the easiest way. Give some love in the comments. Drop a like, drop a follow, share the video. It's always a good time here at the RDL podcast.
If you looking for the truth, then I'm the real deal. If you looking for the truth, then I'm the real deal. Shout out to the crew and they get real. Find me with the crew, nigga, real deal.